Hey y'all, it is April 20th. Happy 420. Um, and today has been a day. Um, I take Daisy back to the vet because uh, she wasn't really having any improvements on the medication they had given her. So they gave her some different medications to try to see if we can address it like that. Um, And actually, even after just one dose of medication, she seems like a very teeny tiny bit better. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hope that that keeps working. Other than that, I really just worked today. I'm trying to get this one client just like finished um, with as much as I can right now. We have to start adding stuff to our audits and reviews and compilations and things of that nature too, about COVID-19 and how it's affecting the businesses and how it's affecting what we call a going concern. And that means, if you're unfamiliar, if the entity has the ability to survive essentially for another year. Um, so, businesses that 3 months ago we would have never considered them being going concern. They had steady revenue, they had, steady job orders or steady revenue inflow. Now we're having to reevaluate and see if they are a going concern, which is, rough. I don't think until now I'd ever worked on a client that was a going concern. And suddenly a couple of mine are, which isn't great, but hopefully we'll be able to get them through it. Couple things in the world. A positive one is Shake Shack got a $10 million small business loan to help it, and it's returning it to give it to actual small businesses who need help, like the small, tiny mom and pop non-chain businesses. So that's great. I've never been to Shake Shack, but I will definitely be going when this reopens because they did that. Texas began to reopen today, which seems really moronic. Seems like a bad idea. I kind of have a feeling we're going to have a really big bounce back, but we'll see. In a similar vein, Governor Wolf, the governor of Pennsylvania, announced today that our stay at home is in effect until at least May 8th. And then after that, maybe consider the beginnings of reopening. Also in Harrisburg, which is Pennsylvania's capital today, there was another protest to open everything. And I was watching the CNN Live reporter who is there, and he's like, yeah, it's ostensibly a protest to reopen Pennsylvania, but it feels a lot like a Trump rally. And there were so many people, there were so many Trump signs. So that exists. Ow, I just hit my foot against the chair leg, and I think I broke my toe a couple weeks ago. And because my pinky toe, I jammed it against something really hard, and it really hurt. And I actually thought I felt really sick. The minute I hit it, I thought I was going to throw up from pain, and everything went dizzy, and I couldn't see, and I had to get down on the ground. I essentially crawled into my bathroom, and I laid on the cold tile, and after a couple of minutes, I was like, okay, that was weird. Normally when you stub your toe, it hurts. It really hurts. But it goes away after a couple minutes to a couple hours, and I could still feel it days and weeks later. So pretty sure I broke my toe, but there's not really anything you can do for that because it's not it's not doing a whole lot. It's just, don't do anything, don't do any big walking tours. Oh, it's okay. I'm stuck at home. So that happened. Mayor Bill de Blasio, which is the mayor of New York, canceled all big public events through May and June, which means, really unfortunately, that Pride is canceled in New York, and Pride New York is ridiculous. It's one of those things that I never want to go to, in the same vein that I never want to go to New Year's Eve in New York just because it's so big and so crazy. But it's so wonderful, and to what it represents and the freedom and ability they have to do that is huge. So that's really a shame. it also means probably Philly Pride will be canceled. Philly Pride last year was so much fun. We talked to Eliza and I didn't have Daisy at the time. We were getting her in a couple weeks. We hadn't met her yet, but I think we had it scheduled to meet her. And we talked about how next year we could bring our dog to Pride. We didn't know then that she was the biggest scaredy cat in the world. It's like we still probably wouldn't have done it, but it's like, man, it's a fun day. It's a fun day, and it's all about love, no matter who you love. So it's a good time, very good time. If you've never been to a Pride festival, highly recommend that you go. I'm just trying to see if anything else happened in the world. I don't think so. Pennsylvania opened their liquor stores today. Oh my god, yeah, actually one guy at the when I was watching the CNN live thing, one guy said that it's a statewide plot amongst all the states, because it couldn't be a federal. So coronavirus isn't as bad as we all think it is. There are some hot spots, according to this man, those should be quarantined, but he has no fear of getting it. He has no fear of spreading it. He thinks people who are scared of it and are staying inside are being lied to. And when asked if it was like a federal plot, he said, no, it can't be a federal plot because Trump wouldn't do that because Trump's his guy. But Pennsylvania and all the governors could get together and come up with a plot, because, and this was his hard-hitting evidence, because they're going to reopen the liquor stores today after they've been closed for more than a month, and you could still play the Pennsylvania lottery. So Pennsylvania is still getting its revenue, but his buddy's restaurant had to close because that was the secret plot. So, yeah. Pennsylvania, man, I've often said, and so has everyone else who's ever lived here, Pennsylvania is Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and a whole lot of Alabama in between. York County, actually, as my roommate is fond of saying, or fond of letting you know, actually sided with the Confederacy during the Civil War. It was like, dudes, why? Because Pennsylvania really, one doesn't consider Pennsylvania like the South, but we have the Mason-Dixon line. We are the southernmost northern state, if that makes sense, in terms of the Mason-Dixon line. And just Pennsylvania is filled with very poor people with limited access to accurate and up-to-date information and education. These are people who, a lot of times don't go to college just because, A, college is stupid expensive anyway, but B, their families can't afford not to have them work right out of school. And so, they don't get that same level of education. And when you think about like it's so easy to say, oh, they're dumb idiots, which when you say it like they have not had the opportunity to have the education to make fully informed decisions, you understand where they're coming from. I understand why someone might think that, and it's sad, and I wish that it's almost like I wish people, they would let us help them, because but at the same time, that's their way of life, and people don't like their way of life being threatened, even if it would potentially help them. So if we had free college, right? So many of them are against free tuition. Like, well, if you had free tuition, you could have gone to college. Your kids can go to college. Your grandkids can go to college all for free, or at least, massively subsidized. But then that's a threat to their way of life. So It's just hard. And there's some people who you just, no matter what you say, they're not going to believe you. Um, and there have already been major upticks in the number of cases in other cities and states where these protests have happened. So, to the guy without a mask going around saying that this is a statewide plot to shut down his buddy's restaurant, I'm sorry you feel like that. Please stay home because, maybe you won't get it, but you might pass it to somebody, um, someone you love, someone you care about. God, the saddest thing seeing there was the kids. These were There were teenagers and young kids. Um, and all the kids were wearing masks. And I'm like, so clearly you think something's going on, right? You're not letting your kid out here without a mask. So clearly you think this is valid to an extent. So why are you doing this to begin with? But it was not the crowd to have a logical debate with. Not that I was even there, but it was just like, yeah, yeah, big oof. Big oof. Anyway, that I think is it for me today. I am going to make dinner. I'm not really sure what. Maybe I'll do takeout. We'll see. It's not Takeout Tuesday, but I have Indian leftovers. NVM. I know what I'm doing. So, all right. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.